Call of Duty defined an era of gaming, from phase and optic trickshot montages to Call of Duty Pro Leagues, and the infamous Round 100 zombie challenges. The franchise has shaped how we play first-person shooters, but no Call of Duty series has had the same cultural impact as Black Ops. Since its beginnings with World at War, Treyarch has consistently set itself apart by creating unforgettable characters, groundbreaking multiplayer, and the iconic Zombies mode. Black Ops 6 isn't just another installment. It's perhaps the most important Call of Duty release in years. This is the first Call of Duty game to have 4-year development cycles, and with that time comes high expectations. Black Ops 6 must show that when given proper care, Call of Duty can still deliver an experience that recaptures the magic of the franchise's golden years. A time when multiplayer was at its peak, and Zombies was a must-play mode every weekend with friends. The stakes are especially high given the growing dissatisfaction in the gaming community. Longtime players are getting tired of repetitive annual release cycles, and many feel the rise of Warzone has pushed traditional multiplayer into the background. Updates seem focused solely on Battle Royale content, leaving fans of the core multiplayer experience who purchased the game feeling left behind. At the same time, fierce competition from games like Apex Legends, Valorant, and Fortnite is completely reshaping the first-person shooter landscape. These games are pushing boundaries, offering innovative mechanics and engagement levels that Call of Duty has struggled to match for years. If Black Ops 6 doesn't deliver something truly fresh, CoD risks becoming irrelevant. And this is why Black Ops 6 has to succeed. It's not about continuing the legacy of the Black Ops series, it's about restoring player trust. Zombies needs a revival with a fresh storyline and gameplay that recaptures the mode's former glory. Multiplayer needs to return to its roots with fast, tactical gameplay that feels like a priority again. And above all, Black Ops 6 must prove that, given the time and the resources, Call of Duty can still be the dominant force that it once was. If Black Ops 6 fails, the consequences could be dire for the franchise. The gaming community is losing faith in this long-standing series, and one more disappointing release could be the breaking point. Treyarch has always delivered under pressure, but with Black Ops 6, the stakes have never been higher. Can Treyarch pull it off again? That's what we're going to deep dive into today. Treyarch's legacy within Call of Duty is arguably the strongest of the three main developers. Starting with World at War, Treyarch introduced the now iconic Nazi Zombies mode, which quickly became a fan favourite. Maps like Nacht der Untoten became instantly recognisable, even reappearing in later games as remastered versions or an Easter egg like in Black Ops 3's Transit. While World at War wasn't technically part of the Black Ops series, its introduction of Nazi zombies laid the foundation of the zombie survival mode that would become an integral Black Ops mode. Then came Black Ops 1, which took players to the Cold War and launched what became the most influential sub-franchise in Call of Duty history. Almost any Call of Duty fan will recognize the phrase, "The numbers, basically." A line that's now etched into gaming culture. Black Ops 1 built upon World at War Zombies by introducing new perks, characters, maps, and expanding the mode into a full-blown phenomenon. In multiplayer, Treyarch continued innovating by adding unique weapons like the crossbow and the ballistic knife, as well as a new economy system that allowed players to wager their earnings in high-stakes wager matches. Most importantly, Black Ops gave us Nuketown, the most iconic multiplayer map in Call of Duty history, next to maybe Rust. This small nuclear testing site would go on to be remade in every Black Ops game, becoming synonymous with the franchise and even earning its own Zombies mode in later years. When Black Ops 2 arrived in 2012, Treyarch pushed the franchise further into the future, with drones, robots, and advanced tech integrated in both the campaign and the multiplayer. Many fans still consider Black Ops 2 to have one of the best multiplayer experiences in Call of Duty history, largely due to the introduction of the Pick 10 system. This new system gave players never-before-seen control over their loadouts, allowing for more customization and diversity in gameplay. Black Ops 2 also introduced League Play, CoD's first ranked mode, which featured a competitive rule set and kept players engaged as they climbed from Iron to Master. On top of this, the Prestige system was upgraded, with the introduction of Prestige Master, which rewarded the most dedicated players by unlocking everything and offering the option to reset their rank. And of course, zombies returned, with many players still enjoying Black Ops 2 Zombies to this day, especially on PC thanks to its modability. Moving to Black Ops 3, Treyarch introduced jetpacks for more fluid movement and the Specialist system, where players could choose characters with unique abilities and weapons to freshen up multiplayer, adding a strategic layer that kept the gameplay feeling more dynamic and replayable. However, the introduction of supply drops and the controversial inclusion of unique weapons in those boxes left a sour taste in people's mouths, especially after the backlash of the Advanced Warfare supply drops. Black Ops 4 was largely built on Black Ops 3's features, adding more weapons, maps, and specialists, while also introducing Call of Duty's first ever Battle Royale, Blackout. While Blackout didn't achieve the same level of success as Warzone, I'd largely attribute that to the fact that it was locked behind a paywall. You had to buy Black Ops 3 to play Blackout. But this did mark Treyarch's first venture into the Battle Royale genre. And most recently, we had Black Ops Cold War, a direct sequel to the original Black Ops. While its zombies mode gradually improved with updates, it never quite reached that same level of quality and polish as the earlier games did, and the multiplayer was genuinely seen as lackluster. And now we've made it. This brings us to Black Ops 6. To stay relevant in an increasingly competitive gaming landscape, it not only needs to carry forward its legacy of its predecessors, but also innovate with that same level of polish and care that made those earlier Black Ops games so loved by the community. With new and exciting games constantly coming out, Treyarch has to deliver a title that reignites the passion that players once had for both the zombies mode and the multiplayer. Black Ops 6 will be the 21st installment in the Call of Duty franchise, a series that has released a new game every year since 2003. While this yearly cycle kept the franchise relevant for nearly 2 decades, many players are feeling what can only be described as franchise fatigue. Each new release feels increasingly familiar with minor updates rather than actual innovation. The most recent back-to-back releases of Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 only made that worse. Modern Warfare 3 really just felt like Modern Warfare 2.5, a full-price DLC. Players haven't had a break from that Modern Warfare storyline or gameplay. They want a fresh experience. It just feels like Call of Duty is recycling the same formula with the same engine. One of the reasons behind these repetitive releases is the clear focus on Warzone. Since its launch, Call of Duty Warzone has become the main focus for both players and developers, leaving those who buy the full Call of Duty game a little bit neglected. While Warzone receives massive updates with new game modes, maps, and events, traditional multiplayer is left with just a handful of maps each season. Both modes will receive new weapons or operator skins, but the clear bulk of the resources are obviously being funneled into Warzone. This imbalance has led to widespread frustration among fans of the core Call of Duty experience, and the ones that open their wallet for the game, not just skins. Another major contributor to franchise fatigue is the reuse of weapons across games. With Modern Warfare 2 and 3, players could use the same weapons, attachments with the same levels they've already earned, making it feel like they're playing the same game they were a year ago when Modern Warfare 3 launched. On release day, almost everyone in multiplayer was using the same weapon they had in Modern Warfare 2, with the same class setup and the same attachments, which is why it felt more like an expansion or a DLC than a full-price game. For many players, Modern Warfare 3 didn't feel like that full game at all. It was, again, Modern Warfare 2.5. At least with Game Pass, there's some relief with not having to pay full price anymore. The lukewarm reception of these recent releases makes the success of Black Ops 6 all the more critical. While Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 launched with positive initial reactions, player interest quickly dropped due to lackluster seasonal updates, rampant microtransactions, and frequent error messages. Many players eventually moved away from the multiplayer experience altogether, opting to stick with Warzone where they could see the majority of the developers' attention was clearly going. The same can be said for Black Ops Cold War. Expectations were high for Treyarch's return, but the game was met with disappointment, especially in the zombies community, where the new loadout system and exfil mechanics didn't live up to the franchise's standards. While later updates improved the zombies experience, many players had already moved on. All of this has chipped away at the faith players once had in the Call of Duty franchise. This is why Black Ops 6 is so important. For many, it represents the last hope for a return to form. The original Black Ops series was so beloved by players for constantly delivering quality from the campaign to the multiplayer and of course the zombies. If Black Ops 6 doesn't live up to the reputation of its predecessors, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, and 4, it could be the final nail in the coffin. If Treyarch, the studio that many consider to be the best of the three Call of Duty developers, fails to deliver, then players might finally lose trust in the entire franchise. With recent failures from Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer, Black Ops needs to remind players why they fell in love with the series in the first place, or they could be gone forever. Back in the early 2010s, Call of Duty had one main competitor, Battlefield. The two were often compared, with players debating which was the better first-person shooter. Though the games offered very different experiences, Call of Duty focused on fast-paced close-quarters combat, while Battlefield featured those large-scale strategic warfares. However, Battlefield eventually stumbled and, well, yeah, 2042. And Call of Duty remained the dominant force, but today's FPS market is far more competitive, with new titles like Valorant, Apex Legends, Fortnite, and X-Defiant all capturing the spotlight, and for free. Many of these newer games are free to play and available on multiple platforms with crossplay, making it easier than ever for players to jump in and play with their friends. They also offer regular updates and fresh gameplay mechanics that keep things exciting, which is something that Call of Duty has struggled to maintain, especially with those recent Modern Warfare releases that feel too similar year after year. Meanwhile, games like X-Defiant and Apex Legends are transparent with their communities, providing frequent updates, roadmaps, detailed patch notes, while Call of Duty is being criticized for its lack of communication, particularly around skill-based matchmaking. Another key factor is that FPS games are just evolving. Players now expect more than just the basic multiplayer experience. Free-to-play games bring innovation through character abilities, unique gameplay mechanics, and events. At the same time, services like Game Pass offer a variety of games for free, including Call of Duty now. This could help bring more players into COD's multiplayer modes, I hope it does, but it also means competition is going to be a lot tougher, and simply releasing a few new weapons or skins isn't going to cut it anymore. With such a crowded and competitive FPS market, COD can't afford to remain stagnant. Games like X-Defiant and Apex are listening to their communities and evolving quickly, while Call of Duty risks losing players to those agile competitors. Black Ops 6 has to innovate, whether it's through fresh multiplayer mechanics, not omnidirectional movement, that's not that big a deal, a revitalized zombie mode, or a brand new game mode that makes it different from the rest of the market. It just has to do something. Ultimately, Black Ops 6 needs to prove that Call of Duty can still deliver something dynamic and exciting, or they'll risk being overshadowed by the next generation of FPS games that are willing to adapt and evolve to player demands. The Call of Duty community is one of the most vocal in gaming. They're quick to point out when they don't like a feature or they think something needs to change. Negative reviews flood social media platforms like Twitter, especially from content creators who are frustrated with issues like the report and shadow ban system. I've seen my friends be banned for just playing the game. One plays on PlayStation. You can't even cheat on PlayStation. Many of these legit players find themselves banned or unable to find a game simply because they were mass reported for being too good. It's a system that needs addressing. but it's just one of those many frustrations that multiplayer fans face. For Black Ops 6 to succeed, the multiplayer experience has to be polished and engaging right from the start. Players want a variety of well-designed maps, both large and small, along with some returning classic maps from the older Black Ops titles. In the past Modern Warfare games, there were maps so unpopular that players would leave lobbies just to avoid them altogether. I'm looking at you, Border Crossing. Map design is crucial, but so is balancing. Call of Duty has had a history of launching with poorly balanced spawns and a few overpowered weapons. While these issues usually get patched over time, if the core experience isn't enjoyable on day one, players will leave for another FPS game with better gunplay or more polished mechanics. With so many great options available, Black Ops 6 can't afford a weak multiplayer launch. That being said, the most important part of any Black Ops game is the zombies. Fans want to return to that classic zombie experience, improved co-op, a compelling narrative, and complex Easter eggs that take days to solve. Other zombies maps are legendary for their intricate Easter eggs, so complex that it is kinda hard to believe some were discovered without guides. This kind of gameplay is what keeps the community invested and brings players back again and again. Players also want the loadout system from Cold War Zombies gone, the classic style where you start with just a pistol and 500 points, not a rocket launcher. Starting with a pistol creates that sense of high-stakes survival that just got lost in Cold War. Bringing back and adding new unique perks that are scattered across the map, and systems like Black Ops 3 Gobblegum could help refresh that experience, making each round feel unpredictable and exciting. If Black Ops 6 doesn't deliver a strong zombies experience, it won't matter how polished the multiplayer is. The game will struggle to get good reviews. The zombies mode always will be, and always has been, the defining feature of a Black Ops game, and its success or its failure will likely determine how fans feel about the game as a whole. The future of the Call of Duty franchise could very well hang in the balance with Black Ops 6. Now, do I think Activision will stop making Call of Duty games if Black Ops 6 fails? No, the franchise is too profitable, and Warzone will likely continue to thrive thanks to the constant updates and attention it receives from developers. However, that traditional player base, the ones who buy Call of Duty for its multiplayer and zombies experiences, could shrink to dangerously low levels. Recent installments have already alienated so many players, and if Black Ops 6 fails to regain their trust, the franchise's long-term future as a dominant force in the FPS market could be in jeopardy. In 2024, the gaming market is more crowded and competitive than ever before. With so many new games launching, players are often overwhelmed with choices. And in this environment, gamers tend to lean towards the games and franchises they trust. That's what makes Black Ops 6 so crucial. If Treyarch can deliver an experience that resonates with the community, especially long-term fans who have felt neglected, then Black Ops 6 has the potential to revitalize the franchise and recapture the loyalty of players who have drifted away. One factor that could give Black Ops 6 a major boost is its availability on Game Pass day one. For the first time, Call of Duty will be available day one to millions of Game Pass subscribers, removing the barrier for a full price purchase. This could drastically expand the player base. For how long? Who knows? But for those players who might not have been willing to buy the game outright, they're going to be playing. Combine this with the strong reputation of Treyarch and the fact that Black Ops 6 has had a 4-year development cycle, the longest in CoD history, there's real opportunity here to set a new standard for the series going forward. The stakes couldn't be higher. If Black Ops 6 succeeds, it could reignite the passion for both its multiplayer and zombies modes, bringing back players who felt disconnected from the franchise in recent years. This would put Call of Duty back at the forefront of FPS gaming and solidify Treyarch's place as the leading Call of Duty developer. But if it fails to meet the expectations, the divide between the Warzone player base and the rest of the Call of Duty community could grow even wider, potentially pushing the core multiplayer and zombies players away for good. In the end, Black Ops 6 could be a turning point. With the right mix of innovation, fan service, and quality, it has the chance to restore faith in the franchise and shape Call of Duty for the years to come. So, Black Ops 6 is more than just another Call of Duty release. It's in a pivotal moment for the franchise. With growing dissatisfaction around repetitive gameplay, franchise fatigue, and the increasing dominance of Warzone, Treyarch must deliver an innovative, polished experience that recaptures the trust of the community. Whether it's a return to classic zombies, an improved multiplayer, or brand new game modes, Black Ops 6 has the potential to reignite the passion for Call of Duty. If it succeeds, it could set that new standard for the series moving forward. If it fails, it risks pushing its core player base away, leaving Call of Duty's future uncertain in an increasingly competitive first-person shooter landscape.